Welcome to the Creative Entrepreneur Show. What do we have this week, Bryon?
Hey, Rosh, happy to be here, fresh, recharged from vacation. I had a really good conversation with one of my best friends. In fact, he's my son's godfather, and
Hmm.
he's a VP at a pretty high level aluminum distributor that's nationally. And I had a good conversation with him about how they're employing AI and their AI adoption, which we spoke about last week.
Yeah.
So some pretty fascinating things that the bigger companies. I know we typically speak to the smaller creative entrepreneur here, but I want to give some insight as to what the bigger companies are doing. And I have started to build my own GPT.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's a little more complex than I thought, but I want to go over just some of the things that I'm getting in line to do this to be able to really add some efficiencies to my company. And yeah, very excited about that. It might be a little over my head, but AI has given me the confidence to try to handle it. So I'll go over some details on that.
Nice.
What do you have going on today?
All right. Well, there's some big announcements for ChatGPT, and I want to get into that. And something we have been waiting for a while. And then what happens when AI is trained on AI content? That's really big, and in terms of what's going to happen as more and more people adopt AI and start using AI, and that's what's coming for search and what's coming for just the general content community because of
Yeah.
this. So it's a
Yeah, I mean,
topic. Yeah, it's a topic that they've been talking about lately, and there was actually I believe a study done, and it's interesting. So I'll share on a high level some of those results.
yeah, I'm fascinated about that because, obviously AI is learning from everything that's on the internet. Now that the internet's becoming populated by what it's learning, is it
Yeah,
improving or is the wheel just spinning? What's happening? So I can't wait to hear that.
yeah, we'll talk about that. Absolutely. Yeah. So what
Very
do you
cool.
got? All right.
So yeah, AI adoption at a high level. So yeah, they really, one of my best friends had a really good conversation, let him know, about this podcast and that what we talk about. And he was so excited to tell me the ways that they're bringing AI in to help them, at a higher level. So first and foremost, he said, they're a big, hundred if not thousands employee company. And he said training is one of the main ways that they've brought it in. All these training modules now are all AI based. So, that
Hmm.
harkens back to our guest that we had about a month ago or so, where there's a lot of AI training education models that are in there.
Right.
And yeah, they're really able to get really good feedback, really good interaction with their new employees. That was far beyond what they were able to do with their traditional, presentations, your traditional
Right.
onboarding process that HR would put people through. They were able to give people, real situations and actually have AI understand and what's going on to give them immediate feedback. And it's been invaluable for their onboarding process. And he said it's just saved them a lot of cost, which is great.
Yeah. Right.
um, Here's one that I really like. I thought this was fascinating. So they are actually using AI in their alloy development. So they're an aluminum company. So they
Right.
make hands, they make, they supply for the automotive industry. There's a lot going on with aluminum these days. And as if you know anything about material science, not all aluminums are just aluminum.
Hmm.
They're an alloy of all sorts of different things, and they get all
Right.
sorts of different effects. And whether it's tension, different strengths and everything. And it used to be that every time they had a new alloy, they had to set up a full test and do a full series of iterations to see, to determine all of these things, the strength of it. And now that they've got this information of all these tests from, decades of doing this, they're able to put it into an AI and start to develop new alloys and get feedback of how, they're going to perform on these tests without actually having to do the tests.
Hmm.
And
Interesting.
they said what they're doing, it's allowing their development costs to go down and their ability to develop goes much more rapidly.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this for years. This is
Yeah.
what AI is going to do for companies, is allow innovation to accelerate.
Yeah.
And this is a way in which they're doing it.
And it's true for
And
the creative entrepreneur. I mean, it
yeah,
just the idea is to allow you to be more creative and more innovative in
yeah,
just the basic stuff that holds you back can
right.
be kind of pushed aside.
Right. Yeah. And, they're able to then focus on other things that are more important, but they can save, he said, when they invest money in doing an actual iteration, they're more calibrating their AI than they are getting the actual results, just to make
Hmm.
sure that, hey, the AI says that this alloy should be of this strength. All right. Now we're going to do a test and calibrate it and
Yeah. Make
see where
sure.
it's at. And they're
Yeah.
getting accurate results, and they're constantly fine
Nice.
tuning, which I'll talk about that, on my next topic here. So yeah, they're using it in this way, and that's really, really high level, really fascinating to be able to go on and full on material science and be able to use it for engineering and develop these better answers faster and cheaper.
Nice.
Lastly, they use it for supply chain management as well. So in aluminum, obviously, they're dealing with a lot of scrap resources. There's a
Mhm.
lot of recycle in that industry,
Right.
and they're able to do the distribution of these resources much more efficiently, much quicker. And this AI is able to handle a lot of the variables about this much faster and get a more efficient distribution of the materials to keep all their sites moving and running. So yeah, some fascinating higher level things that they're doing. And I just loved how excited he was to talk about it,
Yeah.
because some companies, it's starting to become like the thing that you don't talk about, or hey, oh no, we don't let our employees have that, and on their phone
Right.
and or on their computer. And I think those companies that keep that attitude are just not going to be as successful as the ones that do adopt it and do
Yeah.
bring it in. And I'm seeing it firsthand from somebody who's a VP pretty high up telling me, hey, this
In a
this is
big
working out
company.
pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, just thought that'd be a fascinating perspective for our audience there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, gets you thinking about what can you do to be, I mean, you don't have, it doesn't have to be that complex, but
Mhm.
what can you do and how can you apply it? I mean, that's certainly has been a theme, like you said, and we need to continuously be sometimes just how other people use it, even if it's a large company, can often kind of trigger something in our heads like, oh, hey, wait a minute, I could do something like this for this area of my business. So yeah, very
Yeah,
good.
I mean, that creating those pathways for people that hey, I can use it for this is, I think, our number one purpose in this show.
Right.
Yeah. All right, well, throwing it back your way. Big news on ChatGPT. I do know what this is,
Yes, yes. So, well, there's
but
two things I'm
this is
going
a
to
big
say.
deal.
The first thing I'm going to share is not the thing you think I'm going to share, and that's
Mm,
voice mode. Voice mode is
okay, no,
coming.
that's it.
And I'm kind of confused about it. It's kind of like how the announced that Claude has now an Android app. It's like, well, I'm already using it. And a voice mode, maybe it's a more complex element. I know you've talked about this, I believe, in the
Mhm.
past. And maybe I don't understand because I have a voice element to it. So I guess maybe it's a little more deeper coming out. Again, I didn't get much more than that it was coming, and that me was scratching my head. I thought we already have it. But
It's
anyway,
probably just a bit,
go ahead.
but oh, no, I was just saying it's probably just a bit better, more efficient at understanding. So that's it.
Right, right. Of course, the big news is search is coming to Chat GPT, which is, in many ways that I use it for that already.
It's
You
kind of
know,
already there,
I use
right?
it for search already. And so it'll be interesting how that applies, just like Google has Gemini and now ChatGPT is going to have search. And
Hmm.
it's all running together is quite honestly the reality of it. It's not that really search is just morphing into AI and AI is morphing into search, and it's just all going to be just one thing. And yes, they will have certain specialties, but obviously the search engines, the search AIs are going to be the are really just going to be the main thing that we go to find information. And
Right.
why there really won't be a distinction, I think, in the future. You'll just say, I'm going to go search whatever your AI is or ask that information. And I think, when it comes to your business, I think you need to pay attention to where you are in the listings for any of
Mhm.
these AIs. You need to go to Gemini, you need to go to ChatGPT, you need to go to Claude, and you need to type in your business name, your name, and see what comes up. I do that, and it's very accurate. It gives a whole thing about who I am and my business and what I do. So that's good. Um, when searching for even in the photography field, food photographer, it'll show my images and it'll share who I am as one of the selects. But that number is much smaller. the number is like 5, maybe 7 or 3 will be the results versus 10 or 100. And so
Pages of
you really need to push your way in and make sure that you're being found very specifically for the things that you're strongest in, because you want to put your effort into the area that's going to really, I think, have the best ROI for you.
right, and that's a really good perspective, and the fact that AI is now kind of giving us an answer, whereas Google gave us options.
Yes.
You know, and, Google, you everything all about SEO and your listing, you want to be the top one on Google. Yeah, yeah. But you could still be the fourth or fifth one down the line and get a decent amount of traffic because you're
Yeah.
competing against some really big players in that space.
Right.
Whereas in the AI world, if it's only going to output the top three, then the little players, you need to do what you have to do to get up there and be the big player.
Yeah. Well, one thing I have noticed, and just by you talking about that, is that Google gives you listings in directories. And I don't think AI is doing that. I haven't seen the directories. When I ask for something, and a lot of times you'll have a page of directories from Google. And now, okay, so what you're saying, Google, is that you're providing me another platform to now search some more rather than giving me the answer, where the AI will give you the answer. I remember 10 years ago how mad I was when Google started putting in the directories as part of the results. I mean, I wrote about it. I was mad, 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 and I'm still not happy about it. And I'm thinking that this is kind of the way that the AIs are going to be better, because they're not going to give you, oh, here's a directory to go find the information. No, here's the information. Now, if you want to
Right.
go to this directory, fine, but here are some actual, if you're asking for photographers in your area, here they are, not go to this place to search the ones that paid highest for that position that you're about to see. So,
Right.
yeah. So, anyway,
Very cool. All right. Well, throwing back my way, we are working on a project for my company where we just hit a decade. We've got 10 years of work that we've been doing where we've been creating social media content for our clients. And
right.
over that decade we have definitely developed our style. We've developed the way that we create these content calendars. And it's not exactly formulaic to the point where it's like Mad Libs and you just want to fill in the blanks and put in the company's name. It's not to that point. But previously you could maybe make a program that would be like that, but
Mm-hmm.
now that we've got the ability to have these large language models, I'm working on building my own GPT, a local LLM, where we are going to upload 10 years worth of approved content calendars
Oh, wow.
and go through and have it. And I'm going to have to do a lot of work. I'm going to have to do some data collection, and I'm going to have to format for consistency and some things. But what the goal is that, say we onboard a new client, we have certain bits of information that we ask during our onboarding process, and we provide, the website so it can go and scrape that. And the goal is that we've got a framework for at least the beginning 60, 70% of the content based
Okay.
upon what, our tried and true methods that we've been using for years now. And this is proprietary information to us. I don't want all of these content calendars going up. And although all
Right.
of these posts have been posted for the company, so hypothetically all this information's out there in the social media world anyway. But the way we've got it organized and everything, but it's going to be a pretty big undertaking for me. And like I said earlier, it might be something that's a little bit over my head. But what's been really great about it is I've been asking GPT Omni. What steps I need to do, which what programs, what computing power I need. So
Right.
I've downloaded Python for the first time in my life.
Oh,
I'm not a
good.
programmer, but here I am with Python. But that's the language it suggests to
Yeah,
use.
it's a great
and
language. Yeah. Server
and what's
side.
great,
Yeah.
yeah, it's easier. It looks like it's user friendly, and GPT is giving me the actual code prompts to get the ball rolling on
Yeah,
this,
absolutely.
saying, hey, here's the code. This is what you need to do. Make sure your machine's good enough. Let's get this, program right. Which pre-trained model do you want it based on, a GPT-2 or GPT-3 architecture, which those ones are open and available now. Um, making sure the data that I give it is all accurate. I need to create a database to store all this data in the, the
Right.
GPT. And then I also need to format a framework for the content output. how am I going to get this? It's not going to give me just a Word document. I mean, that would be great. Maybe we'll get there. As
Yeah.
Microsoft and different companies start working and developing with the AIs. I mean, we're not quite there, but I imagine within the next year or so, we're probably
Yeah.
going to be there.
Sure.
But to at least get the information in a good copy and paste kind of way that we can insert it into our, documents that we typically use for these, that's what my goal is going to be. And, hopefully it's going to allow my writers to not feel the full pressure of creating content from scratch every month, and give us a good framework to be able to bring on pertinent bits of information from our clients, and having that really get highlighted nicely based
Right.
upon what's been approved and working for years. So I will continue to give updates on my progress on this. My goal is to have it up and running by this fall. And yeah, I think I'll be able to handle it. But luckily, I know people that are smarter than me, like you, that I can turn to in a
Yeah.
situation where maybe if I get stuck or something, that
Certainly.
maybe you'd be able to help me out. So,
Certainly. Of course.
yeah. Have you thought about doing anything like this in your processes, setting anything
I've
up?
thought about it. I mean, no, I mean, I have not. I mean, I kind of toyed with it and realized, you know what? One, I don't have something specific that I wanted to use it for. And quite honestly, that is how you learn, is
Hmm.
by having an end goal like you do. You have something you want to create. And I've used the AIs to help me code for very specific things that I wanted to create that I didn't know how to create. But I didn't have a GPT that I really needed. And so I kind of just put it aside and said, when the time comes, and then I'll start playing with it. But I have pulled in the APIs, and I have done stuff, as you know, even in the earlier days, just a few years ago, I pulled in the OpenAI APIs to just create some websites with some very
Fun, yeah.
basic, the
I
fun
love
stuff.
your photography one where
Yeah,
it's like, you're putting a prompt of like, I'm taking, high school portraits of a
yeah,
football player. Give me a
right,
suggestion of, 10 shots.
right,
And it's like,
right.
have the varsity jacket, do this, it was really good.
Cool. Yeah. So that was fun to do. So yeah, again, I wouldn't have done that unless I had an idea or a goal, in-game goal, and you do. And so that I think that's true with anything when it comes to coding like that or learning something creative. A lot of times we kind of kick ourselves like, why am I not doing this or learning that? It's like, well, you haven't had the need or desire
Yeah,
as of yet. And so if you don't, then don't worry about it. You'll get there, and you'll know the language you need to use or whatever it is when the time's right.
perfect.
So,
All right, thrown back your way for your last one. AI trains AI. What's happening?
so we're talking search, and I think more and more we're going to find the importance. I was talking with some friends the other day about this, and really the reality is there's going to be probably one place we trust, and that will be a book. It'll actually be a printed book. That'll be the only
Yeah.
place that we can trust, because uh, I think it's Nature Science, and the magazine or website Nature um, put out a study of sorts that kind of looked at what the AIs are going to produce if they're trained on content that was created by AIs. And the answer was gibberish, just
Hmm.
got complete gibberish. So if we start just using AI content and just keep putting that out there, we're just going to get really just a circle drain of horror and horrible results. And so we know that there's a continual battle, 'cause now that the AIs have pretty much just read the internet, to bring in new content and find new content to study. And that's going to come from the forums. That's going to come from Reddit. That's why Reddit is so important to Google right now, if you've heard about that and those conversations. And Facebook is a good place. They have their AIs, but they have people writing, people sharing right now. But if they start making it easier and easier for people just to respond with AI responses, that's going to kind of, again, go backwards. So
Yeah.
it is something that we're all thinking about. Um, your insight, even if it's your opinion, is going to be valuable in the future. And that's where even blogs, but blogs that are written by, human, H with the circle around it, human, written, not not created by AI. Hey, write a blog about this for the corporate account, but your personal blog and your insights and your day-to-day stuff. That will become more important as we move forward. So it's going to be interesting. I think there's just going to be a kind of a generic world, AI world, and then also a world of real insight and opinion. And I think we talked about this when we what was it? Oh, I even forget what it was. Remember when Google had that tab that was an
Mhm.
opinion tab?
Yep.
Is it still there? I haven't even looked
I
in a
haven't
while.
seen it in a bit, but I'll peek right now.
Yeah, so that was a year ago, I think, and I
Mhm.
think that was something that was kind of a sign of what is it? Did you see it?
Yeah, it's
No?
gone.
Yeah, it's gone,
Yep.
because I don't think anybody was using it, but they're using it. I think it was just Google saying, "Here, this is what we care about,
Mhm.
and how, what we think is important, and maybe you should too." So anyway, I do think that in the future, books in some way are going to have and even maybe even other types of hard world recordings and
Mhm.
information is going to
Seems
have a resurgence in its own way. Not the way it was as the standard, but as a place to go where I just need to double check the facts
Yeah,
because
and I
I'm
want to
not sure.
guarantee the authenticity that it wasn't just created by AI.
Right.
Now, to kind of throw it back to you, it's okay to start a blog and use AI for format, for framework, but you need to be giving your individual insights to the AI because like you said garbage in, garbage out. But
Right.
if you're giving it your thoughts and your insights and then saying, "Hey, format it so it explains it in such a way,"
Right.
that's a differentiating factor for
Yes.
sure.
And look, if you have a key, like for example, I'll write for some of my projects, I'll say, here are the key elements. This is the way I approach or the information I want to share based off of this research or this graph that I've created or whatever the original work was. I will go to the AI and say, hey, how would you present this? Or expand upon here's two paragraphs or a paragraph. Now make it 500 words or 1,000 words. And sometimes it comes up with some really good stuff. It's impressive. So stuff I haven't even thought about has come up. But again, it may be better if you give it a paragraph, give me 500 words is probably better than 1,000 words because now it's really going to be just starting to make stuff up,
Right. Right.
just to
Exactly.
stretch it.
Yes.
It'll do it. But by the end there, you're like, this has nothing to do with anything here. So,
It's
so
taught itself.
if you want 1,000 words, maybe give it 300 words or something like that. So,
Very good.
yeah,
All right. Well, if anybody's noticed that we've got a little bit of a branding update going on, we're also going to be starting a Facebook and Instagram page this next month. So we're going to implore everyone to follow us at the Creative Entrepreneur Show at those areas. We'll put some links up on our website, and you'll
absolutely
start to
will.
see our branding, everything up to date, and hearing a whole bunch more from us. And again, if anyone wants to be a guest or have any topics you want us to cover, pop on over to our website, creativeentrepreneurshow.com, to send us any inquiries, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
All right. Two creative guys talking AI.